All right, today we're taking a journey into the cryptic, smoke-filled world of alchemy. For centuries, its practitioners guarded their secrets with these incredible layers of code and symbolism. But we think we have a key, a very specific text that promises to reveal the one secret they tried the hardest to hide.
I mean, just think about that for a second. A formula not just for making you rich, but for perfecting matter itself. This was the singular obsession of the alchemists, right? This quest for a substance so powerful, it could literally turn lead into gold and maybe grant some profound wisdom along the way.
And this is exactly where we're going to focus. We're diving into a manuscript called Verbum Dismissum, which translates to the word left out, or the word concealed. This text claims to spill the beans on the foundational secret of the whole operation, how to create the legendary Philosopher's Stone.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at why this secret was so fiercely guarded. Then, we'll reveal the ingredients, we'll forge the first stone, and witness the so-called philosophical marriage that kicks off the great work. We'll follow its progress all the way to the final stone, and then we're going to ask, what was this transmutation really all about?
So why was this word left out in the first place? Well, the author of our text makes it crystal clear. This knowledge is the absolute key. It's the foundation of the entire art. Without it, all the work you do is completely doomed to fail from the start.
The alchemist really believes that if you didn't know this first step, their entire science would just look like a big lie. So they hid the starting point. But it wasn't out of malice. It was more like a test. It was a way to make sure that only the truly dedicated, what they called the pious souls, could figure it out. This wasn't just a recipe, it was protected knowledge.
Okay, so what are we actually working with here? Before any fire gets lit or any vessel is sealed, the very first secret that Verbum Dismissum reveals is the identity of three essential ingredients.
So, the text decodes the main symbols for us. You have the father, which is soul, or the purest gold you can get. Then you have the mother, which is Luna, the most refined silver. Now these two are pretty common knowledge, but the third ingredient, argent vive, or living silver, that was the real mystery. And this isn't the mercury you're thinking of, or quicksilver. No, this is something really special, philosophical mercury.
And this is where the big problem was for all the wannabe alchemists. The text says it right here. While everyone knew gold and silver were part of the deal, there was great doubt about this third thing. So just identifying and then creating philosophical mercury was the first huge hurdle. That was the true word left out.
So, and this is the crucial point. You can't just go out and buy this third ingredient. You have to make it. This first major phase of the work is dedicated entirely to preparing the philosophical mercury and transforming it into what the text calls the vegetable stone.
Now, the vegetable stone isn't the final goal, but it's an absolutely indispensable first step. It's this highly purified, kind of spiritualized form of mercury. It's made by heating it up until it turns into a vapor and then letting it cool back into a solid. That's a process called sublimation. The text calls it white sulfur not burning, which basically means it has the properties of sulfur, but it's so pure that fire can't even touch it.
And get this, the author claims to have personally done this, and his description is just incredible. He says when he opened the vessel, there was this marvelous sweetness, unlike anything on earth, and the substance itself had this crystalline whiteness, as pure as snow. You can tell this wasn't just chemistry for them. It was a profound, almost mystical experience.
Okay, so with the three ingredients finally prepared, we have the father, gold, the mother, silver, and our purified philosophical mercury. The great work, or the magistry, can actually begin. And this is where the elements are brought together in what alchemy calls a philosophical marriage.
The language here is just pure allegory, and it's so important that we decode it. You see, the process isn't described like a simple mixing, but like the sacred union. The white woman is married to the red husband, and the two become one body, completely dissolving into each other.
So let's break down the code. It's pretty clear once you see it. The white woman is the passive, female principle. That's Luna, our purified silver. The red husband is the active, male seed. That's Sol, or purified gold. Their marriage is just the careful combining of these two metals, and they're unified by the philosophical mercury, which acts as this sacred bond, allowing them to join into one single new substance.
Now, once this new compound is sealed up in a special vessel, which they called the philosophical egg, and it's gently heated, the true transformation begins. But it doesn't happen all at once. The alchemist has to watch for a very specific sequence of colors, which is a sign that the work is on the right track. First blackness, then whiteness, and finally redness.
The very first stage is nigredo, or blackness. The material inside basically putrefies, turning completely black, like melted pitch. The alchemists saw this as a necessary death. The substance becomes a dead body, its soul having temporarily left. But here's the wild part, this is a good sign. According to the text, this mortification is vivifying. It's a death that actually leads to life. Even the great Hermes is quoted as saying that seeing this blackness confirms you're on the right way.
So out of this symbolic death comes new life. After all that darkness of nigredo, the matter begins this process of rebirth and purification, which all culminates in the creation of the legendary stone.
After a period of gentle, continuous heat, the blackness finally gives way. The matter is, and I love this word, resuscitated. It transforms into this brilliant white substance, rising from the dregs at the bottom of the vessel. This is the stage of albedo, and the result is the white philosopher's stone, described as crystalline and white as snow.
But this wasn't just some neat chemical curiosity. This new substance was believed to have an almost unbelievable potency.
And this is that power. According to the text, a single part of the finished white stone could transmute 1,000 parts of a base metal, like lead, into the finest, purest silver, purer than anything you could dig out of the ground. That is the legendary power of transmutation.
But believe it or not, the work isn't fully complete. The white stone, which they also call the white celestial rose, is the second to last stage. To get to the final goal, the alchemist takes that white stone and keeps going, treating it with a red oil until its color changes from white to a yellowish citrine and finally to this brilliant ruby red. This is the red stone, the red diadem, the ultimate perfection, capable of transmuting base metals into the purest gold.
So, there you have it. We have the recipe. We've followed the journey from 3 secret ingredients all the way through blackness, whiteness, and redness to a stone that can create infinite wealth. But this raises a much, much deeper question. Was that really the point?
I mean, you have to ask yourself, was this whole elaborate process, filled with all these symbols of death and marriage and rebirth, was it just a highly coded chemistry manual, or was it something more? Many people have interpreted the great work as a metaphor for the purification of the human soul, the journey from the blackness of a corrupt, ignorant state through the whiteness of cleansing to the redness of enlightenment. Was the sovereign medicine they were looking for to heal metals or to heal the spirit?
And that, right there, is the ultimate secret that Verbum Dismissum leaves us with. The text gives us this physical process that is just steeped in the language of spiritual transformation. So the final question is really for you to ponder. Was the alchemist's true goal to perfect matter inside a crucible, or was it to perfect the soul within? Thanks for joining us.